Senator Tammy Duckworth meets with local leaders and Monarch Energy Friday to talk about a planned facility in Rockford. The planned facility would turn waste into energy and help make sustainable aviation fuel using hydrogen power. The conversation Friday featured Mayor Tom McNamara, Michael Dunn, Region 1 Planning Council Director, along with Senator Duckworth. The main conversation was about what the billion-dollar facility would mean for jobs in the area and future economic progress.
We have the opportunity for turning our landfills into energy, into hydrogen power, and into sustainable aviation fuel that's going to make the earth better for our children and grandchildren, and help us get rid of landfill waste and create hundreds and hundreds of good-paying jobs.